Hello, hello, hello. Patricia here, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, more specifically in Alaska. As a matter of fact, I'm in the great far, far north. I'm about 20 miles south of the Arctic Circle, about 60 miles south of Kotzebue, Kotzbue, Kotzebue. And I am up here teaching. I love it up here. It's a village, mostly native, and amazing, amazing people. It's been just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I say that like it's almost done. It's not, but getting close to Thanksgiving, and then after that it'll be Christmas. I will go home for Christmas. I live in Palmer. And then I will be back, of course, in January through May. So my videos, my YouTube videos have been a lot slower than normal, and I do have to apologize for that. But I am experiencing a unique opportunity and hope to do that for the next few years. So let's get started. Today, we are going to add another video in our Nature's Harvest set, and today we are going to add the dies. Love these dies. Oh my goodness, they were on back order for quite a while, and I just almost couldn't wait to get the videos. But the dies, but they are here. They do come in an envelope like this, and I've had people ask me how I store my dies. Now, if they are on a card that is the same size, even if they're 2 pages, I do store them with the stamp set, unless they are not like the stamp set. In other words, these cut out the flowers and the branches of the stamp set itself. So them, I will put magnets, the big magnets that fit in these cases, and I will store it right here. And then these are of such good quality, I keep them, and when I do something and I cut it out, or even if I've just done like this, then I will put it in this card, or envelope, I guess you could say, and I store them then in sets that have been started, that they're ready to go. Maybe they just need to be put together, or maybe they just need to be colored, or whatever the case may be. And so I've had a lot of questions about that and thought I'd answer that for you real quick. Okay, this set is in the mini catalog, the July to December 2021 catalog, on page 54. So this is, these are, I do know how to speak English, some examples that have already been made for us. And these are the suite, or the items that come with this suite. Love this embossing folder. I haven't used it yet, not to make a card, but it's amazing. The metallic backed dots, amazing. This ribbon, this amazing corkboard, and then the papers that come with this set. Notice that there's always DSP, the designer series paper. There's always on a suite like this, the colors that go with this set. So Calypso, Coral, Bumblebee, Soft Succulent, Misty Moonlight, and Crumb Cake. Now I'm going to use some of those colors today, but not all of them. It doesn't mean you have to use those colors. Let me put that aside. It just is the colors that are in that DSP, the designer series paper. So what colors are we using today? We are going to use Soft Succulent, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and Early Espresso. Now, the card that we're going to make, I haven't even put it together yet, but the card that we're going to make today, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can color a design if you want to do that. Now, this one looks very watercolory-ish, And we did this with Versamark. We, as in I, used Versamark and clear Stampin' and Embossing powder. So I'm going to show you how we did that one. And we'll do that here in just a second. But let's go ahead and start from the card base. We are going to get this put together, and then I'll show you how we did it. So this is my card base. It's a half a sheet of my blade. Must be getting a little bit dull because I'm seeing ridges. So I just take my bone folder and fold those out when I cut. This is half of an 8.5 by 11 cut on the 11-inch side at 5.5, and then folded, scored and folded at 4.25. So that's my card base. And then I have a piece of that designer series paper that we didn't look at the whole set, but you saw where it was shown there. This is 4 by 5.25, and we're just going to put that on the front of this card base. So let's go ahead and do that. The back of this is gorgeous too. There's that in the bumblebee. And we're going to, I think I might have to pull out my new bottle of glue because I seem to be, I know there's some in there. There we go. It just doesn't want to come out. May have to go ahead and pull out that new bottle anyway. It doesn't want to come out. What's the deal with that? Okay, let's open this. Pull that plastic off. And at least I did know and have that available, right? Okay. Whew, a lot of glue came out on that. So I think what I'll do is put it down, smear it a bit. There we go. If you get too much, just kind of smear the page a little bit because you don't really want it coming out the edges. If it happens, you just wipe it up. Use your glue eraser maybe. Got a little piece of extra on there. Okay, so there's that. Then this is our card. Oh, I guess you could give you the measurements. Hello. This is 3 by 4.25. And we're going to put that right on here, but we are going to put it up. Are we going to put it up on dimensionals? Nah, let's just put it straight down because we want to put our picture on there in dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to put that on and then switch it around because it still has quite a bit of glue coming out of there. There we go. Want that to be nice and flat without spreading it too much. Then what I did on this, and I am going to show you here in just a moment, but let's go ahead and cut it out. So let's get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And sorry, I don't have enough room to really move this out of the way or move it so you can see the whole thing, but you'll be able to see most of it. I'm in my classroom. I really don't have room at home. When you are teaching in the bush here in Alaska, a lot of times they do provide housing because it's very hard to find housing in a village. However, it's not, you know, the size of your home wherever you live. Okay, so I'm going to line this up. Can you see that? If not, I'm going to move it just a little bit there. Got it lined up. Now, if I were having trouble with that, I could take some low-tack tape and tape it down. But I'm going to put this through. Woo! Very tight space. Whoop, go on through, Patricia. There we go. Okay, I am also, there we go. Isn't that, well, I just broke a fingernail. There we go. Tight space, right? Okay, so there's my flower. Let's get this out of here for just a minute because we need to stamp and cut. So we're going to need to stamp and cut our sentiment, but we're going to put that on there with some lovely dimensionals, because you really want to be able to see that, right? And if you give it a little bit of oomph, then it's nicely visible. We're going to put it in the bigger spaces, of course, and then I think I will cut a couple that will go in some of the smaller spaces. So let's cut some of these edge pieces. You know, when I first started with Stampin' Up, I was like, oh my goodness, that's such a waste. What am I going to do with that? And then I saw somebody using it, and I'm like, oh my, I'm so glad I didn't throw that away. All right, nice. So let's take all of these off. Have you ever watched Brandy Cox? She does these two-handed, and I'm not quite sure how she does that. My brain doesn't work like that. There it goes. I did it. All right, let's put our sentiment, or our flower on here. And I will show you how we did the flower here in just a minute. And then we need to stamp our sentiment. And I am going to go with, I already have it on a block, thank you. And here is my piece, and I think we're going to go with Memento. Even though I don't really have a lot of black on here. There we go. Memento Tuxedo Black. Oh, I messed up just a little bit on that. I am going to turn it over. Do it again. Straight down, straight up. There we go. And when you don't do that, it's a good thing your paper is double-sided, right? Okay, so then I'm going to take my sentiment and, will this one cut? Oh, perfect. So that's the one we're going to cut out. Now, often I'm asked, is it better to cut first and stamp, or stamp and cut? And of course you just saw me stamp so that I could cut. So I highly recommend that. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side just because at least you can see that there. I'm going to position my sentiment on my, or my die cut on my sentiment, and lay that on there carefully so it doesn't move. And I'll go through this way. So I highly recommend that unless you are really, really good at stamping. And you know, a lot of times I am pretty good at it, but there's that time every now and again when it just doesn't want to work for me. And of course, usually that's when I'm recording, right? So I highly recommend that you, there we go, that you stamp and then cut. All right, and we are going to put this, do I want it here or down here? I think I like that right there. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, that looks really nice. And again, where'd my dimensionals go? I'm gonna put dimensionals, I think that's right there, and on the far end here. Did I cut that one? Yes, I did. Okay, so take those backings off. So I put them on either edge. I'm not sure if you could see that. And there we go. And I put that on dimensionals because I had already put my flower. Now I did not get that very even, so I'm going to pull that up. There we go. That's a little bit better. There we go. Nicely done. All right, let me show you how I colored my image. I said I would do that. We want to do it. I started with Versamark ink. And I'm getting all my little pieces. All right, there we go. Started with Versamark ink. I am going to take my stamp, which is here somewhere, and get ink on it very nicely. And of course, I don't have any extra white I'm just going to do it on my scrap piece. It won't work as well, of course, on non-cardstock or just plain paper, but I'm going to still show you how to do it. So once I've got my image on there and you're not seeing anything, I'm going to take, you could do clear or white Stampin' Embossed powder, and hello. Okay, then I'm going to pour my embossing powder on there. Get it on nicely, sort of move it around, and then we're going to pour it off. Give it a couple of taps. There we go. Can you see that now with the light? You might be able to see that a little bit. It is clear, so once we heat it up, it is going to, it is going to be clear. Let me pull this around. I'm going to use my Stampin' Up! Heat gun. I'm going to put it on 1 or 2. It's a little loud, but I'm still going to go with 2. I usually want to heat it up first, and then I'm going to heat the gun up first, and then moving the gun around. Now, you can also heat from the back. I've had people tell me, oh no, you don't want to heat. Yeah, you can heat from the back. Okay, bring it to the front. It feels like it needs that. Once it's gotten all shiny, make sure all of it has gotten shiny. Okay, there we go. Turn it off. Sorry that's so loud. I think you could still hear me. Then we are going to color it. Now we are going to use a blender pen with our inks. You could use your watercolor pencils. As a matter of fact, you could stamp it with, where'd it go? With StazOn, and then color with your watercolor pencils. I would not recommend using Memento ink to then use your watercolor pencils because it would spread that. But let me show you how to use the watercolor pencils while we're talking about it. So I color a bit in whatever space I want. Then I take my blender pen and I move that ink. See how I can move that ink and yet I've got good color where I colored it. Okay, and I can spread that ink, that pencil around a bit. Then wipe it on your scrap paper to get that color out. And that's all you have to do. Now, I love that. I really do. But what if you don't have watercolor pencils and you want to use the colors that you have in stamp pads? It's very easy to do. Open your stamp pad, take a block, or even go directly to the stamp pad, pick up some color, and spread it around. So you could put your ink pad on, or your block on there, pick up some color here, and color away. And that is how I did it. Okay, it looks very watercolory-ish, as you can see. Hold on. As you can see right here. If you go outside the lines, you will get a little bit darker, but I don't mind that. It's that watercolor look. So let me show you. Then I take and get the color out of the tip of that pen. I just keep rolling it and marking with it until it comes clear. Okay, there we go. Once it's done that, I can change colors. So let's go to another color. I had my Calypso Coral. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to just wipe that off. There we go. I'm going to get some Calypso Coral on here. I'm going to pick that up, and then I'm going to go to my flower and start just sort of dragging it from the center. Then I want to clean it off. Now I would do the rest of them. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do a little bit of that. So I would do this. I want to get a little bit of that up there. And the same here. Okay, it's not going to color the same way on this just plain paper, but it's not bad. Okay, then again, I'm going to use my pen, my blender pen, and keep rolling it and dragging it, roll and drag until it comes out clear. Even though it's stained on the top tip, as long as I have gotten it to come clear here, then I'm good to go. Okay, so I'm going to get the Calypso coral off. Then I'm going to grab my Daffodil Delight. And again, make sure I don't have any color on there. I'm going to pick up some of my Daffodil Delight. Or again, I can come right in here to the edge and then pull some of that out. Okay, so then I can actually grab some of that Calypso coral and spread it. Some of it's sort of sitting on top of the top of those. There we go. On the top of that, basically it ends up being plastic when you emboss like that. Grab some of that, spread it around. You're getting a little bit. Now it's really light on here, and you can see how much better it looks on the cardstock. As a matter of fact, I might even add a little more yellow right there. Looks much better on the cardstock than it does on that plain paper, but you get the idea, just because I didn't bring any cardstock over here. Okay, there we go. And then of course you want to let that dry, and then, hello, I just put my finger in my ink. Then I'm going to take my early espresso, and it doesn't really matter if I get yellow on it this time because it's so much darker. And I'm going to take my early espresso and color the tips of my flowers. Or the centers of my flowers, it's not the tips. Okay. And then I'll do the bottom over here on this little one. Now, again, sorry I don't have my cardstock over here so that I can show you that, but you can see what it looks like in the end. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love that. So while we've got it out, let's go ahead and take our ink and our flower. Woo! Trying to shake things up a little bit. I think somebody said this was a cone flower. Not quite sure, but I'm going to open the inside of my card. You know how I am about that. And put my flower there. Is that not just gorgeous? To be honest, does it need to be colored? No, that is so gorgeous. Anyway, there we go. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something new and enjoyed experiencing the, let me pull it out, Nature's Harvest Stamp and Die Bundle. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you have not already subscribed, I would love it if you did that. Beside that subscribe button is a bell. If you'll ring that bell, you'll get notifications anytime I put out a new video like this one. And then also comments are so appreciated. I love to hear what you think, if you've learned something new, etc. And please feel free to comment on the information or what you learned. Thank you. I would also love to see examples of what you do.